Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. In Holy Toledo, we finally see a breath of fresh air with a relief rally that is coming into the markets. A lot of optimism and bullishness. I mean, I think 1 trillion was added across the whole market cap of the equity market today, and we see a lot of people talking about, is this the possible bottom? Individual stocks that we've been talking about for a while on the channel, like BMNR, up over 20% today. We're going to be talking about an interesting point where they're at specifically and what the whole sentiment is regarding kind of crypto and its integration into the whole traditional financial sector and how the administration plays a role in that in terms of bringing regulation and clarity, which is what the traditional financial sector is looking towards. Also, on top of that, we'll be talking about the market. We're seeing more AI deals, more type of optimism from the Magnificent Seven stocks that are showing that demand is not slowing down, all on top of a market that is recapturing some important support levels, and Palantir also experiencing a decent bid today. So if you're a new or returning viewer, hit the like button, subscribe for daily videos. We're trying to hit 30,000 subscribers. Let's see if we can do it. Pop it up on the screen here. Let's talk about BMNR, BitMine Immersion Technologies first, because they are up 20% on the day. We see a large reversal at this last bottom here at 25 after BMNR was beaten down, quite frankly, pretty severely ever since coming up here at the 63s, down here, having a nice reversal at 25. And currently in the overnight hours, we're also seeing buying pressure currently at $30.70. Why $30 is really critically important for BMNR is because recapturing that level of support right here was after we saw the announcement, of course, of Tom Lee getting his involvement within BMNR, and it pushed it, skyrocketed. We saw a squeeze, and then we, kind of consolidating back down here. $30 was that price action where we saw support, touch points, 3 touch points. You can see here multiple touch points before kind of trading and swing trading between the 40s and the 60s. So recapturing the support, I think, is important in order for the bulls to try to maintain a little bit of control. And how that correlates not just with Tom Lee, but with the cryptocurrency industry. You're seeing Bitcoin that hit 88,000, and I think if Ethereum can reestablish a $3,000 level floor and establishing some support there, and especially with the fear and greed that is still at 15, with a lot of optimism that is coming back into the market, crypto could catch a bid. And hey, maybe this Q4 rally is still here on top of Tom Lee that's been acquiring Ethereum at a rapid pace regarding BitMine. Now has 3% of the Ethereum supply. As we know, they're working to get to the alchemy of 5%, what they call in the power of numbers, and I think they're going to achieve that milestone quite quickly. On top of that, with staking, that will get included within the next year. You have a severe amount of revenue that will be coming into their balance sheet. I like this post here by Donald D on X talking about native asset values and market native asset value calculations. Looking at an average of 1.6 is what a lot of the digital asset treasuries kind of trade at. Showing here at a $4,000 ETH, that equates to $73.94 for BMNR, a $5,000, $91.67. So, with the data that we do have at a 1.6 average, BMNR could be trading at a decent discount right now if you're utilizing this type of conviction or this type of analysis within the stock. We'll see what happens, but nonetheless, of course, these are highly volatile. Great to see BMNR and especially all the holders that have became community members finally getting a little bit of relief. Awesome to see. Also on top of that, you have the Trump family right here showing their pro BTC mining rig facility. So they are showing no signs of slowing down regarding their involvement into the crypto sphere. And you're also seeing big banks saying that the entire banking industry is likely going to be embracing Bitcoin payments. So I think this kind of clarity and the traditional finance kind of hybrid sector involvement with crypto is not just a matter, we're seeing it unfold before our eyes. So not just a matter of if, but more of a matter of when that's going to be happening and how fast it's going to happen, especially with tokenization. So bullish on that towards the year end. Let's talk about Palantir here. Palantir jumps up to 162.22, catching a decent bid today. Great to see the Palantir bulls finally seeing a little bit of relief, if we can find Palantir on the watch list. But we see Palantir was basically utilizing that previous consolidation zone at the 150s right here. And that was a strong support level after the strong correction that we saw in a lot of the individual names across in the market. And Palantir with this reversal right here at 162.25. Great to see here. If we see more optimism coming back into the AI trade, if we're continuing to see the macroeconomic environment that looks bullish, I could easily see Palantir that kind of re-enters into this consolidation zone here between the 170s. I know this was a boring price action for Palantir, but it gave the actual individual stock a lot of resiliency, especially around these near-time highs. So depending on what the market is, and specifically looking at the actual S&P 500 index, a bullish thing is that we do have the recapturing of the 6,700. We saw a huge move today, a 100-point move in the S&P 500 index, up about 1.55%. Some of the bullish things that we see across the board, and looking here, Amit on his Twitter, I love listening to his Twitter because he just has very quick, up-to-date, important updates in the market. One of the big things here, Amazon investing up to $50 billion to expand AI and a supercomputing infrastructure for U.S. government agencies. So we see that the government is not slowing down regarding their involvement with AI demand, and this is a positive impact for the Mag 7s. You're also seeing here Meta considering to use Google's TPUs. We see Google that's catching an insane bid. Remember when Google was like the most hated stock at the beginning of the year and they were claimed to be behind on AI? I mean, look at them now. This just shows you how time can play out. On top of that, we also have Trump that is showing that the relations with China and the president of China are continuing to do well. And what he says here, making significant progress, and that he's going to be visiting Beijing in April, and Xi is going to be visiting in America. So great to see here. You have political tensions that are continuing to dwindle. We have AI demand that is kind of retaking the headlines. And we have the anticipation of rate cuts, the probability of that's back up to like 80% for December. And you see here, even this Fed president, the San Francisco Fed president that usually closely aligns with Jerome Powell, says here backs a December rate cut. So we're seeing multiple Fed presidents that are coming out and that are backing a Fed rate cut just due to the weakening labor concerns. When we had that uncertainty that really arose last week and the last previous few weeks, because people were questioning, what's the inflation that's still continuing to linger around. But they're looking to seem to prioritize the weakening labor market. So the Fed cut now for December is up to like 80%. That's where you're seeing optimism that's re-entering into the market. That's helping with the S&P 500 index capture 6,700. We'll see, especially with the close above there. I think that's relatively strong. However, I don't want to be too confident that this was the true bottom. Of course, things can swing anyway, but nonetheless, things are looking quite decent for the bulls. I think we need to see some continuation with the indices to hold some structure up and to hopefully let the bears start to get scared. That's what I'm hoping here, especially with Google pushing up about 6.3% on the day. You got Broadcom, the biggest gainer, surging more than 11%. So we're seeing a lot of optimism that's coming back into these AI big tech names. And if you couple that with the macroeconomic environment, like I said, with the markets pricing in more than an 80% chance right here of a 0.25% rate cut, that is what is personally keeping me bullish for the end of the year. Now, specifically, what we're seeing with some of the big stocks that I've been talking about in terms of not just big stocks, like in terms of their market cap, but big retail names, a lot of these AI data center plays are making some large reversals and bids as we speak. They're basically all having the same type of reversals. We saw kind of this uniform, kind of synonymous push within the market today. IREN up about 15%. You see here Cypher up about 18%. And these names that I list off, I encourage you to always do your own, due diligence, do your own research about some of these AI data center names because they're quite interesting, especially with Nebius right here. I mean, we let Nebius get down to a bottom right here, a 78. It's already back to 91. And you see things like CoreWeave right here. It's, bottoming at 65, now it's 73 when CoreWeave was just at 150 not that long ago. So yes, very volatile names to say nonetheless, but awesome to see here. We're seeing a little bit of a breathing rally that is occurring. Now, with this pullback, a lot of these individual names sold off about 30 to 50%. So, I think that was due with a lot of frothiness that was in the market, removed a lot of leverage out within the market, especially with the crypto market. So now it's just going to be kind of like what's kind of the major headwinds ahead of us. I think we definitely have more tailwinds. So that's how I'm specifically looking at the market. Of course, being careful this week because we have a shortened holiday trading week with Thanksgiving, of course, and then a shortened day on Friday. But with the volume that we saw today and the bullishness, was pretty quite awesome to see, especially during a holiday week. So what do you make of all that information? Do you think the bottom was priced in, or do you think we're going to continue to see some uncertainty and possible a further sell-off? Let me know down in the comments. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.